Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Okay. Ahmadu Barak, the OG. What's going on? Assalamu alaikum, Nabila. What's going on, y'all? Ahmad, I should have knew you was gonna be here for the fun. So let me give I keep always saying I'm gonna make my videos a lot shorter. Sorry that I get a little long-winded, y'all. Please forgive me. Alhamdulillah. Just a brief overview for anybody who doesn't know much about this topic. This is the forever debate between the Sunni and the Salafi. I'm no stranger to it, as everybody knows. But alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala certify my intentions. I want to bring awareness to these issues. It's a problem in the African American community. Probably it's not a problem in the other parts, Muslim parts of the world, but it is definitely a problem in the African American community. And this is the only reason why I speak on it. It's not against any one person or any people. It's just we got to keep it real. We got to bring the haqq when we talk, or what we doing in life. Period. We got to be on the straight and narrow path. So this book, I'm gonna be reading this book live, inshallah ta'ala. Y'all make dua that I'm sincere in this, and make dua that I say the appropriate things that will awaken the minds and the hearts and the souls of our people. I mean, this book is called Al-Kayfiyyah. It's written by a fairly popular brother that's been around for a little while. His name is Kunya is Abu Jannah, but as y'all might know him as Sheikh or Imam Ra'id. He is an African American brother from Philly. I actually found him on YouTube doing my research, and when I was making when I had the debating series against with the Sunnis and the Salafis, and his brother's a good brother, man. I reached out to him on YouTube, and he got back with me ASAP. He has a series on YouTube as well on this subject, and it is the best that I have heard so far. And he actually went and wrote a book, which is what we're going to be reading, called Al-Kayfiyyah, which is the way. This is the mannerism about going about doing something. So I want to say one thing. I'm gonna be skipping over certain excerpts of the book, because I mean the brother goes at the Salafis hard, real hard. He's in the thick of it all. He lives in Philly, so he right there. And he's a Shafi'i, he's an Ash'ari Shafi'i, so he right in the thick of the battle. And you know his intentions, I read them as pure. And after speaking to him, as a matter of fact, yesterday, he said that all he wants is that via this live stream and these efforts, that he wants brothers and sisters to make dua for him, that he's sincere and that he enters paradise, inshallah ta'ala, on his efforts. But it's a great book. I forgot to get the book. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I want us to post a link so y'all can order the book and support the brother. We definitely need to support. It's $27. I ordered it. I pre-ordered it before it came out, and got the book. Supported the brother, his hard work and scholarship. One thing that we almost never ever see is a scholarship in the Black community. And especially, I mean, brothers writing books, that's just insane. That's absurd. It's absolutely positively absurd. I'm gonna put the link to the book on the screen, inshallah. You can't post, you can't copy this, what's on the screen. Okay. That's the link. That's the link to the book from Taiba Books. They were fairly fast when I ordered the book, alhamdulillah. And the brother breaks it down point for point to where there is no argument, absolutely no argument, and it's all Qur'an and it's all Sunnah. We on both sides, everybody, well, really on one side, all you hear is follow the Quran and Sunnah according to the way of the Salaf. That's all you hear. That's all you hear. But when you read those books that comes from that other side, from the Salafi side, you don't find that stuff in the Quran and the Sunnah. Well, they'll quote the Quran and they'll quote hadiths and so forth, of course. But the interpretations of it, you don't find that in the time of the Salaf and the way of the Salaf, the way of the Sahaba. I've said this over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm urging everybody to read books like this and get on Dean, get on Dean. It's an important matter. I also have to emphasize that it's not a matter of when we just say, oh, it's different schools of thought. The Salafi Minhaj is not a school of thought. And most of the modern day scholars and the classical scholars that have, well, it's really a modern issue. So I can say the modern day scholars who are classical, I'll say it like that. The modern day scholars who are classical have classified that as a group of bid'ah. It's a group of innovation. And Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam urged us to not associate and be far away from the people of bid'ah. There's a hadith when the Prophet ﷺ spoke bad about the Qadariyah, who were people that I don't want to make this about the Qadariyah, but they're a known sect in Islam that Rasulullah ﷺ virtually cursed. And our scholars use that hadith amongst a few other ones to as proof that we are not permitted to associate with them and be with them, let alone be one of them. No offense to anybody. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jomo, what's up, man? What's up, big fella? I'm back active, man. What's happening? Inshallah ta'ala, we'll be down there in a few weeks, man. But yeah, we gotta stay on square, man. And inshallah ta'ala, this book is really good. So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna read the first part of the book, and inshallah ta'ala, save the questions to the end of this presentation so that we can keep we can stay focused and get through the book. Learn this stuff too. Get your pencil and pen out when you read when you're listening to this, because I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time to read or whatnot. That's all I do, because Allah subhanahu. Let me remind y'all to always think about the hellfire. I'm thinking about the hellfire all the time, and I'm so afraid that I'll go in it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect me and protect you from the hellfire. I mean, so I'm always trying to do dhikr. I'm always trying. I ain't no big sheikh or big wali or nothing like that, sitting in the cave memorizing text all day. I'm a regular dude just like anybody else. I go to work and I come home with my family. But I do have my shortcomings. I recognize my shortcomings, and I'm afraid of that fire. And every day, all day, it's on my mind. And I'm urging y'all to be the same way. Every day, all day, have the fire on your mind. We are not here to play. We're not here to play on YouTube. We are not here to play on TikTok. We're not here to play on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, all the stuff that the people are doing today. That is not why we are here. What is the ayah? مَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said he did not create mankind and the jinn except that they should be worshiping him. That's the only reason why we're here. And we can simplify all of the stress and depression and everything that we have going on, trying to mimic and adulate the social media world and the social media standards and the standards that social media have set on society. We could rid ourselves of all of this filth in our brains and in our hearts, and it's filth, and we all do it. I watch reels on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. It's funny to me too. I even share some of them. Very rarely. I mean, as y'all can see, I'll go days and sometimes weeks without even being active on social media. I'm busy in my everyday life, busy running my businesses. That's the only time you really actually see me on social media is posting for my businesses, making advertisement just so I can feed my family in the halal way. I play around. I have my entertainment. I ain't no big Sheikh or Wali, like I said, but this is the kind of stuff that we should be doing. Having these kinds of conversations. We shouldn't be getting together, shooting a bobo about whatever. We should be getting together for the sake of worship. When brothers and sisters hook up, they talking on the phone or whatever they doing, it should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if it's stuff like this. So that's what we're doing. That's what the intention is on this channel. That's what we do here is try to reset the focus. So that's what all this is about. We stand focused. We try not to be in that fire, and we're gonna do everything that we possibly can to not be in that fire. Even hurt a few feelings. So getting into the book, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the intention of ta'aleem and the intention to teach what we're learning. Inshallah ta'ala. Ameen. So this goes point for point. The theme of the book is he's been dealing with the Salafis / the Wahhabiyyah for a long time, and they done came at him from every angle. So he's kind of narrating the book in that thought process, how quote unquote they come at you. Some parts I might skip over because I don't want. The brother don't care. He threw it out there. He go hard on them, really hard. But I want to invite the Wahhabiyyah and the Salafiyah. I want to invite them to Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I know that sentence sounds insulting to them because they think that they're Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And the brother's actually going to touch on that. And we're going to break it down how they are not and that we are. We didn't been over it in my works, but this brother, he does, I think, the best job so far dealing with this issue. It's the best book that I've seen. I haven't seen a book, and this is 200, I think the book is 267 pages long. I haven't seen a book that big and that long in particular about this issue. You'll find something here or there, maybe a pamphlet, or you'll find something written from a sheikh or a scholar that's really vague. And you know that they're talking about the Wahhabiyyah and the Salafiyah and people who fit those characteristics, but they don't say it. A lot of times, they can't say it because they'll lose their job, and we don't want that. Or they might get canceled because the Wahhabiyyah, they basically run the internet as far as it comes to Islam. Anytime you Google or YouTube anything, it's going to be the first thing that's going to pop up is the Wahhabi or Salafi with those nice Hollywood style videos that America funds for them. Yes, America is behind those beautiful videos from like Abu Taymiyyah and Tawhid Wyatt and what's the other guy name? I forget the guy name that taught it, that read a hadith. I ain't gonna say taught, that read a hadith in the Prophet Sallallahu Masjid and was the first African American to do it. Somebody remind me in the comments. What's the guy name? Y'all know who he is, the guy in the comments. Be careful, Jomo, you driving. But yeah, so this is a problem in the African American community, as I've said. And the brother goes point for point on how they come at us, and he's gonna give you the ammunition, because I ain't gonna hold you. The Wahhabiyyah and the Salafiyah, man, they gang tight, man. They game tight. They learn those pamphlets and they will machine gun those They learn that I give them this credit. They are very studious individuals. They are very, very studious. And that's one thing that we have to step our game up on. Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We have to get, as studious. Those are two different branches of being. But the Wahhabiyya and the Salafiyya, they Ahmad Suyuti, Assalamu alaikum Habibi, Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. That's my guy. They they machine gun this stuff at you. So the brother is showing he giving you they shooting at you with a 30 clip, and he's giving you a 50-round drum. That's how I see this book is a 50-round drum. And he's coming straight Qur'an, straight Sunnah. And I forgot to mention his isnad. His sanad goes through the world renowned Sheikh Samir. That's on the East Coast. Everybody that's on the East Coast knows Sheikh Samir. I mean that I say his name. That rings bells just by itself. So yeah. What you say, Ahmed? He said, I would not say they are studious, just well indoctrinated. Very true. Once you get them away from the points, they stumble all over. That's a fact. That's 100% fact. but they sharp though. I'm glad this book is written because with me jumping in this fight, so many people send me questions like, oh, well, such and such said this, Abu Taymiyyah said this, and Thahad Wahid said that, and all those other big names. And then they got the guys, the copy and pasters, the trolls. They got like a division of trolls, literally guys that just make fitna on the internet. They don't even be meaning no good whatsoever. They just come on and they got like notes in their phone that's copy and pasted in their iCloud. And anytime somebody starts this conversation, they just jump in the comments, or they jump in your inbox, or if they see you participating in the comments on a video like this, and they just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. You don't even get a chance to respond. Like, man, hold up, dude. You typing your response to the first thing, boom, he hit you with something, boom, 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 boom. So, they own what they own. So we need to get on what we need to get on, inshallah ta'ala. So the biggest difference, this is the brother's gonna go point for point, and I'm gonna read, and we're about to jump straight into it, inshallah ta'ala. Did he write? He wrote an introduction, but I just gave y'all an introduction. Hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, y'all order the book. It's put up on the screen. So let me see. Okay, here's his introduction. The difference between Ahlus Sunnah and the Wahhabis. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed, this handbook will shed a luminous spotlight on the deviant beliefs of the so-called Salafis, those whom the Muslims call, quote unquote, the Wahhabis, or the Wahhabiyya. And sidebar, we call them, they rebranded themselves as the Salafis, but they actually are who our scholars, the scholars of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, branded the Wahhabiyya. And they gave them that name. And a lot of people always say, oh, I don't want to be a Wahhabi, I don't want to be a Salafi, I don't want to be a Maliki, I don't want to be a Hanafi, I'm just Muslim. No, you can have a title. Titles existed in the time of the Prophet Islam. We had the Prophet Islam referred to two different tribes that were both Muslim, the Aus and the Khazraj. So, they used to brand them with that. There's a, subhanAllah, what's the Sahabi name? Y'all, somebody correct me. It's Abu Ja'far al-Ghifari. He was from the Ghafar tribe. Al-Ghifari, they used to call him that. Because he was from there. He was from those people. The Qur'an referred to the two different groups of Muslims, the predecessors and the successors in that time. The predecessors were the Muhajirun, and then you had the Ansar. So the Muhajirun have a high status. They have a very, very high status because they were the first people who became Muslim. And then also we have the branding of names with the Ansar. We also have another branding of names with the whole surah of Surah al-Munafiqun. Those people were claimed to be Muslims too. So not saying that the Wahhabiyya are not Muslims, but this name thing is real. We allowed to do it, and our scholars actually made all these names. So they call them the Wahhabiyya because they all follow the doctrine of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. I do not put Muhammad on his name. He is the horn of Shaitan. He is not a sheikh. He is not a mujaddid, and any of those. Those are the blind following guys that term Ibn Abdul Wahhab as a sheikh, mujaddid, and all that stuff. No, he ain't none of that. I'm just gonna lay it out flat. He was a great innovator, and he is the biggest thorn in the side of Islam and modern day 21st, 22nd century Islam, whichever one we in. So that's why they call them the Wahhabiyya. If nobody else knows, our scholars branded them the Wahhabiyya after Ibn Abdul Wahhab. He created their doctrine, and then other people who were around at that time, Fawzan and what's the blind guy? Bin Baz. Those are the two big ones. And then we also have, like, a little bit later than them, the guy Madkhal. And we also have a brand of the Wahhabiyya that we call the Madkhaliyya. And they're like the extreme Salafis, the extreme Wahhabis, where it's like you don't believe what they believe, then you're kafir. So which is haram. So when you hear the term, if anybody don't know, if you hear the term Wahhabiyya, that's what that means. But then once Ibn Abdul Wahhab was exposed in the early 20th century, then Saudi Arabia said we have to rebrand ourselves, and they started to call themselves the Salafi, the Salafiyya. So the Salafiyya and the Wahhabiyya, they both the same. Back to the book. Hopefully it will be helpful in understanding what these misguided people believe, why they believe it, and perhaps most importantly, give some basic tips on how to refute them. Side note, save refuting them for like the studious people that's acquainted with knowledge. If you're not one that's acquainted with knowledge, take this type stuff in, or whatever notes you collect. You probably won't catch all of it, and even if you order the book, you won't catch all of it. But keep what you can keep and hold that for yourself. And if somebody get at you, you'll have this ammo, so to speak, for yourself. And it's important to have, because I've seen the Wahhabiyya and the Salafiyya, I've seen them destroy people's iman. People just now become a Muslim, and then they like, oh, don't go with this group, don't go with that group, and this is haram and this is bid'ah, and they learn more about haram and bid'ah before they learn the actual fard ayn, and that is completely haram. This is haram in every shape, form, or fashion. So you keep when he's saying that, mind you, he's talking to like people who are kind of studious in Islam. But if you're not, I reiterate, keep this in your magazine. Some of us got, like I said, some of us got that 50-round drum. Some of us just got about 5 bullets. Just keep that in there. Don't be on the internet going crazy and doing what I'm doing. And a lot of my friends and my shuyukh, they don't like that I get involved in this topic, but I feel like it's necessary for the sake of, at least for the sake of African-American Muslims and any Muslims who might be dealing with this in their respective communities around the world. Back in the book. Although the intention is to keep this book as simple and clear as possible, learning Islamic knowledge on one's own is not encouraged by the religion. This handbook is equipped with a glossary and footnotes for unfamiliar terms. But one should not attempt to teach Islam to himself by simply reading books and depending on his own understanding. There is no alternative to sitting under a proper teacher. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, وَإِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. Oops, I messed that up. بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. The knowledge is only by learning. This means that taking knowledge is from the inheritors of the prophets, i.e. the scholars, from their mouths, chest to chest, not reading books. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, rahimahullah, said in his explanation of the hadith, The meaning is that this is his tafsir to that hadith. The meaning is that the recognized knowledge is only that knowledge which is taken from the prophets and their heirs by way of being formally educated. Side note: the only way you can be formally educated nowadays is if you sit with a scholar who sat with scholars, and like I mentioned before, sat with a teacher who has an isnad, and the isnad must go back, and all of the asani go back to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Even if there's some break in the chain of a particular scholar, you might like, say for instance, like me, I don't have any formal ijazats, right? So a book like the what is the book, the Muwatta. I don't know, my brain just had a freeze. The Muwatta. This, if we were to learn or read the Muwatta, that book alone has a chain going all the way back to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam wa alayhi wasallam. There, just that book alone, but that's one of the books from the four schools, and we have some other big, huge books. The Reliance of the Traveler is another huge book that has a chain that goes back to Nabi alayhi salatu salam. The Bahishti Zawar from the Hanafiya. That book, the knowledge that's in that book, all has a chain that goes back to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. You have to be acquainted and aligned with that. If you're not acquainted and aligned with that, if it's the fiqh of of bin Baz, you broke. You're outside of the fold of what we know to be Islam. If even though these people like Fawzan and all these characters and the Madkhal guy or whatever, all those guys that wrote books and they put Qur'an and they put hadith in there, their works and their books have no sanad. It has no unbroken chain going all the way back to the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. The hadith do, of course, the Qur'an that they use does, but their works has no connection to the chain of knowledge that goes back to Nabi alayhi salatu salam. Only the four schools only the four schools of law, the four schools of fiqh, and the three schools of aqidah have that chain back to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. So that's what is meant when the brother said that. Going further, since this is so, every accountable person is obligated to go to a knowledgeable teacher from Ahlul Sunnah, and if there is no teacher in his area, he must travel to find someone, as said by the renowned Shafi'i scholar Ahmad ibn Rislan in his famous millennial poem, Az-Zubad. Whoever did not know that, let him ask. Whoever did not find a teacher, let him travel. End quote. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to knowledgeable teachers who can fill us with knowledge. Ameen. Starting the book. First section, the path of Ahlul Sunnah and the obligation of following them. Question number 1. To follow Islam properly, which group should be followed? Very legitimate question, very popular question. In the famous hadith of Iftiraqul Ummah, the disunion of the nation, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam warned us about 72 sects that would deviate from the correct path of Muslims. He, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, surely this nation will divide into 73 factions. All of them will be in the fire except one. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I said it right. This amount of the hadith does not specify who that one group is, who shall be saved in the afterlife. By merging the narrations of this topic, we shall know the true description of that singular group, as we shall see. His companions, number 2, his companions asked him about that single group, and he, alayhi salatu wasalam, told them, and surely this religion will divide into 73 sects. 72 of them are in the hellfire, and one of them is in paradise, and it is the Jama'ah. So that's another hadith. This specifies that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Side note, when we say Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that's where that term comes from. It comes from this hadith. Our scholars coined this term for us so that we'll know who the real is and who the fake are. The people of the Prophet ﷺ Sunnah, his method, is the Jama'ah, is the group, the congregation / the majority. This means that the saved sect that should be followed is the group with the largest following. Point number three. In one narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, surely my nation does not gather upon misguidance. So when you have seen dissension, then adhere to the vast majority. Bisawadul Adam. Get used to that term. You're going to be hearing that for a little bit. Bisawadil Adam. These different narrations of the hadith comply with each other. There's no contradiction between that single guided group being the Jama'ah and being a sawadil or bisawadil Adam. The vast majority. That's what that means. A sawadil Adam. Jama'ah means group and must be explained with the other hadiths. So in this context, it means the majority. Point number 4. At-Tabarani narrates a version that says all of them are upon misguidance except the vast majority. Point number 5. Others report that the Prophet ﷺ said, Kulluhum fin nari illa sawad al-a'zam. All of them are in hell except the vast majority. Therefore, the Jama'ah in this context is the vast majority, and it does not differ, and it does not refer to the congregational prayer, because the Wahhabiyya / Salafiyya tried to say this. And yet another narration, point number 6, and yet another narration, they asked the Prophet ﷺ about that single group, and he said, Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. It is what I and my companions are on. Now that we have used 6 ahadith to be certain that the Jama'ah is the vast majority, it is certain that those who are upon what he and his companions are upon are that very same Jama'ah, which is the vast majority of the nation. The so-called Salafiyya do not fit this description. So before we go further in the book, I want to elucidate that notice how he didn't organize those ahadith. Of course, he learned this with his Sheikh Samir, and Sheikh Samir didn't even organize those ahadith. These arguments are already laid out, but there are millions upon millions of ahadith. So you cannot, the Salafiyya, they try to teach people, follow the Qur'an and Sunnah yourself. Don't go to Malik, don't go to a famous slogan that the Salafiyya like to say is, don't tell me what Malik said, don't tell me what Abu Hanifa said, don't tell me what Imam Ash'ari said, don't tell me what Imam Maturidi said, tell me what the Prophet ﷺ said, which is invalid. You're incapable of going directly to what Rasulullah ﷺ said, because there are millions of things that the Prophet ﷺ said, and it's collected with millions of classifications of what he said. So for the brother, may Allah subhanahu Abu Jannah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him. I mean, the order, and those particular hadith being placed in this instance about this particular topic, you got to be a serious individual, which our individuals. Oh, that's my mother. You got to get out the camera. You're not covered. And then she did it. No, I'm playing. I'm messing with you. My mother is doing hijab. We getting somewhere, y'all. Oh, messing with the baby. Oh, she got a new. Oh Lord. you need me? No. Oh, why you still chapstick? Oh Lord. Where's yours? Oh, it's in the truck. But anyway, for the so you can't go straight to the book and the Sunnah by yourself. You have to have you're not going to know these things on your own unless you've been trained by a traditional scholar. And those traditional our scholars have been trained by traditional scholars. So out of those millions of hadiths, they were able to find a lot of them, but the brother just gave us 6 of them that gave us the meaning to the first hadith. So where the Wahhabiyya gets stuck at a lot, they have like one hadith and like one book and like one scholar who said something, and they, oh yeah, here's Islam, and everybody else is a kafir, and everybody else is a kufar. That's the problem. They're too narrow-minded. They don't have a breadth of knowledge. They would know about all these, and it looks like if you read something like the old Wahhabi books, if you read them, it's like they didn't know, because in those early times when like Ibn Abdul Wahhab was around, they didn't have the internet. They just had just their local scholars and resources. So if a person is on some bid'ah and he trying to cook up his bid'ah, he only going to be like in one area, and Allah Ta'ala is not going to guide him. He ain't going to have access. He's not going to have that divine access to all that knowledge. Number one, because he cut himself off from it. He went against all of the Ibn Abdul Wahhab. He went against all of the local scholars. All of the local scholars gave fatwa against Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Nobody supported him. Nobody whatsoever. And that's why he killed. That's why he killed all of the scholars. Not all of them, but he killed the scholars and he killed the people of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So he was a mass murderer, literally. They like cut off from knowing these other things. So they wrote these books, and then people nowadays got their hands on those books, and they're like, oh yeah, here's the truth. And they got this one hadith about the 72 sects or whatever, and only one is going to be saved. And they're like, oh yeah, we're the one that's saved because we're not worshiping graves and all this other stuff. But then there's all these other hadiths. There's 5 other hadith that okay, all right, bye. Is all these other hadith, and we got 5 other ones that elucidate the meaning of that one hadith. So this is like proof. If you come across a pamphlet and it's got like one hadith, you got to be careful. You got to get the full spectrum. And they didn't get the full spectrum a lot of times. And then, people came out against them once they found out people were saying this. And they all like, oh, here's a hadith, here's a hadith, here's a hadith. And they all classified good. All the narrators are good, so on and so forth. And now that book that person or that pamphlet that person made with that one hadith, and he didn't know about those other hadith, or he just ignored them and didn't include them. Here go people coming out against him with all these other hadith, and that's trumping what you're saying. Okay, this is the danger of not already being. Let's not reinvent the wheel, which is what Ibn Abdul Wahhab tried to do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Allah Ta'ala's religion was made complete. So just go get in line. If you want to be a scholar, you want to learn stuff, go sit with the scholars and they put you to work. Don't go and try to make up your own stuff and be like, oh yeah, this. And Ibn Abdul Wahhab was known for saying this, that the only person that knows what la ilaha illallah is him. He's on record saying stuff like that. He's absurd. So you can't just, you have to have that full spectrum. And there might be 10 other ahadith that you have to find out of the millions of ahadith that exist to be able to elucidate the point in one particular hadith. This is what scholarship is. You got to put in that work. You can't just pick up one hadith and be like, oh, I like this, and this fits what I want to do, so everybody got to follow this. That's not the way that's not the way of the Muslims. Get back in the book. Historically, the majority of the Muslims have always had the same belief since the time of the companions, who never disagreed about the basics of belief amongst themselves. The companions were all together on the same path, and they did not divide into factions. As for the next generation, the tabi'un, the followers, Most of those who were attributed to Islam were upon the path of the companions, and a minority deviated. And this is the case for every generation that came after, including ours. We say that this is safe. This is the safe, blessed path of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So basically, to wrap up that point, he has all his references here. I'm not going to make this all long and drawn out, but if anybody posts a question or get at me with a question, his references are all here for everything that he said. Alhamdulillah. So a lot of people don't do that, especially the Wahhabi books. They don't like to do that. But to wrap that up, basically, the interpretation of that hadith of the 72 sects is that you must stick to the Jama'ah, you must stick to the vast majority. And the vast majority of the world of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. The vast majority of people, not the vast majority of people, but the minority of in this ummah is the Shia and the Salafis. They are the minorities. They are not the majorities at all. And sidebar, I don't know if he gets to this in the book or not, but I've seen a Shia and I've seen a few Shia and I've seen a lot of Salafis use the ayah in the Qur'an, and most of them will not believe again in this, in reference to this, them being the minority. That's illegitimate. You can't do that. The Prophet ﷺ, I don't know where, but I'm sure somebody who's scholarly can find it. But I've read it myself, and I've heard my shuyukh talk about it. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam spoke against the people who tried to use ayat in the Quran against the believer. That's talking about the disbelievers against the believers. So if anybody tries to use that ayah against you because you're following one of the 3 schools of Aqidah and one of the 4 schools of fiqh, which is the only Islam that exists on the planet, and they try to say that, oh, most people won't be believers, you got to tell them, that's for the disbelievers, brother. I say, La ilaha illallah, ashhadu la ilaha illallah, wa Muhammadur Rasulullah. So you can't be talking about me, and that ayah cannot be talking about me, sir, ma'am. Respectfully. Going further. For further clarity, the majority of Muslims did not disagree about, and he goes into detail when what he means that in those time periods, the time of the Sahaba and the Tabi'un, that they didn't disagree about. He just listed a few. They're pillars of the name. It doesn't mean that they didn't differ, but the pillars and the fabric and the soul of Islam, they didn't disagree about. Number 1, the validity of the rulership of the 4 guided Khulafa. That's a shot at the Shia. Number 2, nor did they deny the torture of the grave. Number 3, they did not or believe that sins take a Muslim out of Islam. Number 4, they did not deny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be seen, although he is seen without having a shape, form, or color, or size, or any of that, or in a space, in a locale, any of that. And this point will be revisited later in the book. Number 5, they did not deny destiny, qadr. Number 6, or they did not or deny that some believers will be tortured in the hellfire. Number 7, or that people have a will, voluntary acts, and a choice. All 7 of those things were mainstream characteristics of 7 different sects throughout the history of Islam. This video is not about that, so we ain't gonna get into it. Going further, and this is the last part before we close this up. All of these were beliefs held by different deviant groups throughout history. Never has the majority disagreed about the basics of the correct belief, and we challenge anyone to bring evidence of such a disagreement. Until today, about 80% of the nation has the same belief, and from that, we know that the so-called Salafis are deviant people. Now, that's not like talking bad about the people. It's just basically saying, like the Salafi Minhaj, if you're on that, that's a deviancy. Let me clean that sentence up a little bit because I'm friends. Yeah, I'm friends. I'm cool with a lot of people who follow the Salafi Minhaj, and I don't want them to feel like how they make people feel, how some of their people make us feel. We like, oh, you're a deviant, and all that stuff they be doing. So let me clean that sentence up a little bit. The Salafi Minhaj is deviant. The people, for the most part, I just believe they don't know better. The vast majority of them don't know better. In my experience, the people who chose to follow the Salafi Minhaj, that was their first introduction to Islam, and they're moving at their own pace in learning. Once they get through all the pamphlets and stuff is just only going to hold you over for a little bit. Once you get done with all them pamphlets about who's a deviant and don't worship a grave and don't follow a madhab, that's it. That's the Salafi religion. It ain't nothing else to it. If you're a true, sincere worshiper, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Waqimu salah wa atu zakah, how do I establish my salah? How do I pay my zakah? How do I levy these things? You got to come back to us. Fawzan didn't write a fiqh book. Ibn bin Baz didn't write a fiqh book. Ibn Wahab didn't write a fiqh book, and Madakhal, he didn't write a fiqh book. They have fiqh books, but those are not fiqh books. They took rulings. They made their own rulings, number one, and then they took the rulings that already existed from the four madhahib, number two. So they don't have like their own fiqh. You gotta come to us. And even that one book I think it's like the most popular Wahhabi fiqh book. I think it's called what's that maroon book called, y'all? The Sunnah. It's a 4-volume maroon set. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't know, something to Sunnah, something to Sunnah. I forget the name of it. It's a real popular book. That ain't nothing but a compilation of all of the fiqh of the four madhabs. That Wahhabi guy that wrote that book just took all of the different parts of all of the four madhab that he liked and put them in that book, and then said, here's some fiqh since everybody want to learn some fiqh. Last paragraph. Since they consider most of the Muslims throughout the world to be pagans and deviants, because the Muslims believe in good innovations and tawassul, which the Wahhabis deem to be paganism, shirk. The clarification of tawassul and good bid'ah will come later, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so that's the first part. That was the first question or whatnot, as far as it was a reference to the 72 sects. To next week's live stream will be on question 2, and it is titled the Wahhabi attempt to discredit the nation at large. So he deals with their interpretation of the majority and those 6 hadith that we used as reference to us. So he's going to refute their refutation to the actual interpretation of the hadith of 72 sects. He's gonna break it all the way down. I see there's a few comments, so inshallah ta'ala we'll look at them and we'll close this up. A lot of comments. Farouk, salam alaikum. It's my big brother. Salam alaikum, Jabril Hussein. Abdul Mujib, what's that, man? Ahmad Sayyidi said false prophet and called it to great wrong. I'm assuming he was in reference to Ibn Abdul Wahhab. Sometimes they'll print the books with the name of Muhammad ibn Sulaiman at-Tamimi to disguise him. Oh, now that's deviant. Nabila Nasiha said, when You are a brand new Muslim. You do not know who or what to believe. If you come across the Salafis, you will be quickly drawn to them because they seem to be extremely studious and teach people the Qur'an and Sunnah, or they try to. But yeah, they that is true. Like they seem like real valiant. They like, yeah, we have to save the Ummah. Everybody have to stop alcohol. And we have to throw all the homosexual Muslims off of the roof. Allahu Akbar. It's like exciting. But and that's just like those people from the African American community. Every time a white cop shoots a black person, an African American, everybody's like, oh, we have to break the establishment. Let's march. Let's call off work for 3 weeks and everybody be broke. Let's burn down our neighborhood. They the same people. When all that mess was going on throughout the pandemic, I was like one person screaming at everybody else that was reposting the stuff after they get done smoking and drinking and doing all the things and clubbing and gang banging and doing all the stuff that was actually destroying the community more so than white people coming in and every now and then, every blue moon, shooting a black person. When what they call those people, the armchair quarterbacks. Once all that excitement is over, man, what you gonna do? What you doing? Nothing. You doing nothing. You completely complacent. You completely heedless. You're doing nothing, and falling into the trap and being hit with the WMD, the weapon or weapons of mass destruction. Sitting watching TV and YouTube and porn and drugs and pills and all that stuff. That's the stuff that actually harms the people and the society. The Wahhabiyya, like they the same way. My good friend Amir Khalil, he tickled me last year. He said they have a terminology, man, about this. They call it the Salafi burnout. Hashtag Salafi burnout. When they become Muslim and they first, they just left being misguided, which is good. Everybody come in Islam with that fire. Everybody do. But once you start getting to work, man, you ain't got time for all of that hurrah, hooray. You ain't got time for that. You trying to make yourself better. I mean, if you have a wife or you have a husband, you trying to make that person better. And y'all's kids, you busy with that. And if you got something else left over, then we're going to march. But you're right, Nabila. They do have like that excitement, and it's exciting. And then they videos, I can't stress this enough, y'all. Them videos is produced by Hollywood, man. All them videos, they got 1 million views, man. It ain't, how in the world? I was listening to one of maybe 5 videos when I was at work today. I try to keep my mind busy at all times. So I was sitting on a mower. I was cutting 3 acres. If all y'all don't know, I do landscaping. Alhamdulillah. And I was cutting 3 acres and it was about 3-4 feet tall. So I was going to be there for a while. So I put on YouTube and I started listening to an explanation of one of our fiqh books called the Risala from a scholar. I forgot his name, Ahmad. He's from the West Coast, our brother. Man, it was real good. It was beautiful. And the brother is obviously inclined by divine revelation. Like he's up under the influence of divine revelation. Beautiful speech. My point, not speech, but lesson. My point, the video's been out for 2 weeks and it had 3 views. You're not going to tell me that, quote unquote, the establishment is not behind the Wahhabiyya. And they not even teaching the fiqh. What the fiqh comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's in the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said that, I don't know the exact wording, but he said when Allah ta'ala wants to give somebody a favor and he wants to bless a person, he gives them afqahul fit din. He gives them the understanding. Afqah, the fiqh, gives them the understanding of the deen. That is divine, period. How in the world did that video get 3 views in 2 weeks? But this guy, Abu Tamia from London, he ain't teaching no fiqh, not at all. I ain't seen one video. This dude, I've been telling YouTube for the longest to stop recommending that stuff on my algorithm. They hip to me because they throwing that crap on there. I ain't never searched this dude. I don't know who he is, where he came from. I don't know. Maybe it's my website searches about this topic, but he keep popping on my thing. Man, he getting like 500,000 views. And I was talking to Salaf Abdul Majid like a month ago, and he told me that, man, he went to Minnesota and the Somali sisters was trying to kiss him and all type of stuff. It was nuts. They was fainting when he walked by like he was a prophet or something. This is crazy. Y'all not gonna tell me Hollywood and the government is not behind them people. Beware. If y'all love Malcolm X, Shabazz, rahimahumullah, remember, I think the most important piece of advice he gave us: the revolution will not be televised. It will not. So this video is not going to get a lot of views. Most of the people who are from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah is not going to get a lot of views. That ain't why we here. That ain't why we here. We ain't competing for all of that. But all them Hollywood videos and those Aima that's on YouTube, and they got the Hollywood production. They look reliant, and they got the music in the back and the nice Qur'an and all that stuff. Man, that's all in the hood. We call that fluff. If y'all don't know what that means like somebody give you some bad drugs. Like the good drugs is on the inside, and then they give you some bad drugs on the outside, whether it be weed or whether it be drugs. I come from the street, and the only analogies I can give you. I'm not a poet that came from the Madari, so I can just give you what I got. That's all fluff. That's front. All of that is front. I've been home from prison 8 years, and I like Mufti Meek. May Allah Ta'ala preserve him. Beautiful. I love his recitation. I love his seerah of the prophets. I love all of that. But you get millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of views, and you ain't got not one fiqh video on there. Not one fiqh video. That series that he has on the prophets is nice. I love it. I like it. But that's like a cherry on top of the icing. That up against learning fiqh and learning aqidah, and you got all this attention, and you got all these millions of views, and people flying you all over the world, and you ain't taking that opportunity to rightly guide the people. Come on, man. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, beware of all of that stuff, y'all. Beware of it. Ahmad just said, and when they speak with raised voices and hand waving, it makes them look like they have authority. Yeah. Me and the guys in the A team, that's what we call it the sheikh finger. You know, they all got the mean face, and they give you the sheikh finger, like, you know that. Sorry to mock them, because we're not supposed to do that. We're gonna learn that in our fiqh class on Fridays, but it is kind of funny. I must see this at mom doing her thing. Yeah, man. Her and the wife was out kicking and getting their nails done. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Tasha. Ahmad Sayyidi said, and the older slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having much life experience, appreciate more the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and see the wisdom. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase her in her knowledge. Ameen. 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 I remember hearing this and repeating it to others. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Sheikh Ismail Cartier is on here, y'all. Tag him for any questions. I'm gonna put you to work, Sheikh. In the comments, tag him and all in y'all's questions. Alhamdulillah. If y'all can remember, he went in Khalwa. If y'all can remember, I always referenced him. I have 3 shuyukh. Sheikh Rami and Sur, Sheikh Ismail Cartier was here, and then my late great Sheikh Ayub Muhammad Hansbai, rahimahumullah. So take advantage of it. Like, if y'all taking the time to listen to me, I'm telling y'all, take the time to talk to people like him. And people like him don't come in groups and stuff like this where we just like kicking it and talking stuff like that. It's a blessing. The presence is a blessing. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll have him on the program doing some work, but he's busy with his new institute. We're gonna post it. I tried to share it to the group too, Shay. It only shared the picture. It didn't share the entire post. the entire post shared to my page, but just the picture didn't go in the group. So just post it in the group, share. Or if you don't get around to it, I'll just screenshot it and post it. But he has a new learning, online learning initiative going on. It's called the Sunnah Institute. It's going to be dealing with the fiqh of marriage, the fiqh of family, and the fiqh of society. This is like undermined. We don't talk about that much. We don't learn that fiqh much. This extremely important. Why is it extremely important? Because whatever you're doing, and we're gonna keep it simple. Whatever you're doing inside of your house is what you're gonna do outside of your house. So we see how loose society is nowadays. So that means our households, if any, are loose. We don't even have households. So we got to get to that point as well. Nabila, she said, yes, I was introduced to the Salafiyah the second year of being Muslim. She said, testify to what I was saying. It's normally early on in your Islam. Ahmad, you laughing at the WMD, weapons of mass distraction. Yep. Post the link, please, of the YouTube video. Nyla, what are you talking about? What video? Oh, the video I was talking about? Oh, I'll give it to you. But I don't want to post that book. I don't want to post that because it's not for everybody. That's for the third level of book of fiqh, for that book. Nyla, you ready for it? You went through Ibn Ashur. Are you ready? It's just that one book, that one lesson. Nyla said, things that are positive and beneficial usually go unnoticed, sadly, but let it be something bad, it'll be noticed for sure. Yeah, they push it out there. Sister Tasha said, I listened to him too, and wow, it didn't even dawn on me. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Mufti Mink. He cool, he good people, but they know not to let one of my videos get 1 million views. It's gonna be 500,000 Malikis and Ash'aris after that. And that's what they don't want. Okay, no, I don't see any questions. So, inshallah ta'ala, fiqh. I think I'm gonna start doing all of the classes at 6. I'll be trying to do them in the morning, but I'll be having too much going on as far as work. I'm normally usually done with work at like 4 or 5 o'clock and can get to it. But inshallah ta'ala, I think Wednesday we're gonna start Aqidah. So we ain't this page. We're not going to use this page just to beat up on the Salafis. We're going to actually learn what is Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah on this page. And I got some brothers that's on standby that's also willing to help. That's going to be able to provide the different perspectives of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah from all 3 schools of Aqidah. That is the Maturidiyah, the Ash'ariyah, and the Hanabila. Those are the 3 schools of Aqidah. And we also have brothers that I'm locked in with that are acquainted with the 4 schools of knowledge, of law, the Hanafiya, the Malikiyah, the Shafi'iyah, and the Hanabila. We have brothers with all 4. But we all like regular people. We don't like live off of honorariums. So like we don't sit at our desks all day. At one point in time we did. And that's the knowledge that we're imparting. So our schedules are all over the place, and we getting in for the next, I say, month or so, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be rolling out. There should be videos going at least once every single night of the week. That's my goal, inshallah ta'ala. And that way we put the true understanding of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah out there into the algorithm. And with that being said, if y'all agree that this is Ahlus Sunnah TV, share this, like it, drop a comment, and share it. That's what builds the algorithm. Not so I can get honorariums. I mean, if I do, it's going to go to to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of Allah. But do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That hadith, if you like this, if you comment and then you share it, you don't have to do all 3. You can do just one or whatever. Comments help drive up the views. Likes help drive up the views. And if you share it, of course, you're putting this on your respective channels as well, and more people can see it. That way we can push the mentality of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah out there and fix the narrative. That's the only way things are going to get better in our Islam. Not like just with me and my efforts. Anything that you find that's good, that's what I like to do with my pages and my channels. Anything that I look at and I see that this is Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, not anything, not everything. Boom, I might not even listen to it. I got brothers and sisters on here that I'm locked in with. I don't got time to listen to it, but I know they on the right and narrow. Brothers like Imam Amin, Amir Khalil, who else go live? Imam Abu Muhammad. These are close people to me. Imam Boom Bap. If you know, you know. Imam Fahim. If I see them doing anything, because I know what they own, if I see them doing anything, boom, I hit the like button. I might jump on. I'll be at work a lot of times on a mower or at a weed eater, and it might say Masjid Uthman Danfodio is going live. I got my notifications on for all those people. Follow all their pages. Masjid Muhammad, Masjid Uthman Danfodio, and the Kuba School, Imam Fahim. These are the heavy hitters that I know that's really putting in that work. It don't hurt me to like the video. I jump on it. I might get off my mower. I'll pull up my phone. I click on the video, count to like 10, so they get a view from me, and then I'll get back to whatever I'm doing. And if I feel like it's in line with what I'm trying to do right there at that moment, I hit the share button. Get them more views, bring up the more algorithm. You know, that's support the cause, y'all. Support the cause. We sit and watch reels and all that's funny stuff, and funny Mike and funny Marco and all them guys. Them dudes is getting millions of views, but Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah is getting 3 views. First and foremost, nobody ain't giving nothing to the collection plate, so we ain't spreading. But we pay for that Netflix subscription and Amazon subscription. People pay that $10 faithfully, but we don't pay that $10 towards Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah or towards Islam, that beautiful loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ain't doing that. So at least we could do is, you know, give that view, give that like, give that share. That is completely 100% free. Do that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I ain't telling y'all to do nothing that I don't do. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention my boy Salih Abdul Mujib. He go live all the time about relevant topics. You know, he real locked into with the streets, and he's speaking from the street perspective. Y'all say that Lil Durk is the voice. I'm gonna say that Abdul Mujib is the voice of the hood. He bring up all, you know, relevant topics. So I like him or not, you know, he's doing the work. I jump on there, give him a 10-second view, say salam alaikum, hit the like button. I get on to whatever I'm doing. So it don't hurt y'all nothing at all to support it, and it actually helps you, because anything good that we do and say, us the du'ats, we jumping out here, putting our necks on the line with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by opening our mouths doing this. That's a lot. Another thing that discourages me a lot from making the video. Sometimes I'll be like, man, who am I? And then y'all see weeks I won't make a video or whatever, but you know, the work has to be done. But anything we say good in these videos, if y'all share it and somebody watch it or people watch it and they do the same thing, we got that thawab, you got that thawab, and everybody's getting that barakah. And that's thawab. Everybody's getting it. Do it just for that sake. If nothing else, for your own sake, to get that in your own account, because that's what we doing here. We putting the hawk down. That's it. That's it. We putting the hawk down. Put a heart, put thumbs, all that stuff that we do when we watching the Dunya videos and everything. I expect that at least and more, inshallah ta'ala. If we really trying to, get this thing rolling. But I'm gone for the sake of Allah. I went past what I said I wanted to do again. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't like to get long-winded. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get these videos to be within 30 and 45 minutes. I'm gonna try. I know y'all got stuff to do. Y'all ain't got to sit here. Y'all ain't got time to sit here all day. Yeah, Lil Durk, he'll clean his life up, but I don't be hard on guys like that, because I used to be Lil Durk at one point in time. And there were some people that were very, 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 very. I was actually worse than Lil Durk. Lil Durk got out the game early. I was this deep in the game and didn't get a chance to get out. right? He got a chance to get out when he was like 17, 18, even though he's making the music and he's contributing some stuff allegedly. Even with the music and everything, that's all he's doing is making some music. I was like doing the stuff that he make music about in his age group, with the age that he is now. And alhamdulillah, and all that he's going through and everything that he has been through, the light that all the garbage that has been dumped on that young man, and I know how that feels. I had all that garbage dumped on me as well, and still the seed of Islam was planted. Yeah, if don't nobody know, his dad is like a famous gang member, and like famous gang member, and he went down with in a gang roundup like 25 years ago, and he did his time, and he quote unquote didn't snitch, and he came home a whole OG. By the time he came home, Dirk was already rapping, and he had lightweight made himself a name in the streets amongst all this craziness and confusion. And we talking about guys here who it's a hip hop thing. I'm gonna do a video on this. I mean, I started a series on like drill culture last year, and I didn't finish it, but I'm gonna bring it back to just touch on this a little bit. But those guys, these guys are known for what they call dissing the dead. Like the rival gang members, once they die, then they make a song about them and they diss that individual's death. We talking about this person and those people. That guy is a leader amongst those people, and Islam reached him through his father, who was a gang member. He's a high-ranking gang member. He became Muslim. I was a high-ranking gang member, and he became Muslim. And I've brought people to Islam being a high-ranking gang member, and and ex-con and all that stuff. So I got a soft spot in my heart for guys like Dirk and Lil Von and King Von, and them type of guys. So be easy on them, y'all. Be easy. If y'all don't agree with what they doing, if y'all don't agree with it, just don't say nothing, because you don't want to push those type people back into that life that they came from. It's a miracle that individuals like him, who like them, him and his dad, who are leaders. Man, look, Dirk is on his way to being 100 millionaire via the haram music or whatever, but he don't have to be a Muslim. He don't have to be a Muslim. He got money, he got fame, he got power, he got women, he got everything that the dunya can offer, and still he said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. He actually drops it in his rhymes, like that he pray and all that. I don't recommend it, but if that's where you at, then that's what it is. But he pray, he says that he prays. I seen a beautiful video. His friend King Von, who got murdered and who was also wanted for multiple murders, his baby mother put up a video of King Von's, I think she's 3 years old, his 3-year-old daughter, and King Von been dead for 2 years. So his daughter had to be 1 when he died. His daughter, like 3 years old, maybe she's 3, 4 years old, something like that. She can barely speak, but she was saying this Kalima Shahada. This is how powerful Islam is. King Von, who was wanted, he became famous in the hood for beating a murder that he allegedly did, and then became a famous rapper, had a whole name in the gang life, and he was a serious, treacherous dude, was murdered over rap beef. He wasn't even murdered over gang beef, was murdered over rap beef that had stuff to do with gangs. And still the power of La ilaha illallah. And I don't think his baby mom is like a Muslim. I don't know. I ain't never heard that or seen that. But, she doesn't appear to be a Muslim. I think she is. I hope she is. But, she doesn't appear to be a Muslim. And that video that went viral, that surfaced, she's not dressed. The mom is like not dressed Muslim. She dressed like the normal African-American non-Muslim women whatever, in a like a BMW or something like that. And in the back seat of that BMW, this little baby is saying the Kalima Shahada. She's saying La ilaha illallah. That's the power of Islam. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Ask me, my weak opinion, Allah Ta'ala will accept that. Inshallah Ta'ala. Coming from where they come from. And I know where they come from. I've been through it. I'm still trying to survive it. So let's not be too hard on them. That's just my opinion. Let's not be too hard on them and push them over the edge back into, like when, if it's like a boundary. How's my camera? If this is like the boundary, if you like right here in Kufa, and then you come into Iman, you might be right here, but you here. You're in Iman, you're here. And then soon, as time goes, you'll go like this. Inshallah ta'ala. Or you might go like this, you might go like this, you might go like this, or you might die like this, like King Von did. King Von was a Muslim. He was a Muslim via gang members, not via Mufti Mink, not via Martin Luther King, not via Malik al-Shabazz, not via Sheikh Ismail Cartier, not via Good Brother Kabir. He was Muslim via gang members. Gang members. Gang members. He was Muslim. And he died. And just think, if you think about fiqh, this is why we got to emphasize fiqh. We got King Von doing all the bad stuff. They even made a famous documentary about King Von being a serial killer. This rapper. They made a documentary about this man, and the FBI is trying to tarnish his image because they know he died as a Muslim. He died as a Muslim. So at the end of his life, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him for his sins and his shortcomings. As y'all know, the fiqh, when you become Muslim, all that go away. So all that stuff that they're making documentaries on, all these people that he allegedly killed and all the stuff he did with gangs and all the stuff he did with drugs, once he took Kalima Shahada, it was probably maybe a few months to a year prior to his death that he took Kalima Shahada. He didn't really have no sins. So he left this planet in a good condition from our viewpoint. He left here with a clean slate, with a near clean slate. While we got a Kalima Shahada and we got decades, and ain't no telling what done happened up under those decades. So we got to look at things a little different sometimes, inshallah. Sister Nabila said, Ameen, inshallah, alhamdulillah, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. Yep. She said, I understand the struggle. I know that about life. I was married to someone in that street life before Islam. I follow New York drill rappers now because I live in New York. All this time we've been following each other. I didn't know you was in New York. So yeah, New York got a serious drill problem, man. A serious drill culture problem. In Brooklyn and the Bronx, I've been following it too. This is why I'm doing these efforts with these types of videos, because this is the problems that we got to deal with. Our kids are literally becoming mass murderers and serial killers. She said, I watched them to see how to reach young people to call them with Islam. The young Muslims are leaving the deen in large numbers. They want no parts of Islam. Some of the gangbangers shot up the ops, the enemies, if anybody don't know what that means. Look at that. Sister Nabila talking about the ops in front of the masjid in Brooklyn. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. So yeah, see, we got real problems. We got real problems. We got real problems. This is why we got to do this kind of stuff. We got to do this kind of stuff. We got real problems. But let me get off here. We're going way over time. Inshallah ta'ala, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday are my busy days. I don't know. I'll put the schedule up, inshallah, of when we're going to start the Aqidah. That is the belief of the Muslims, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who are the prophets, who are the messengers, the life of the hereafter, all of those things. What we actually believe. We're going to get started with that. So that'll become a Wednesday, inshallah ta'ala, Wednesday. We got Friday night fiqh, inshallah, and then we have a little fun with this topic on Sundays, and it'll be the evenings, inshallah ta'ala. I love y'all for the sake of Allah. If I say anything wrong, does not belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our illustrious scholars, the Sahaba, or any of the righteous and rightly guided. It is my shortcoming, and it is my ignorance, and I welcome all criticism, constructive criticism. Help me out. Help me help everybody else. If I said or did anything wrong, I'm open to it all. I'm not open to trolling, and I will burn you. I promise you. Once again, this is the link for the brother's book, taybabooks.com. Last shout out to my Sheikh Rami. Google tabafoundation.org and make a donation, $5, $10, $20, because he has an initiative where he's educating incarcerated and previously incarcerated not African American Muslims, but really all Muslims, but most of the people who take advantage and benefit of his program are African Americans, like myself. That was where I got my structured knowledge. I can't express how much help that has done me since I come home. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. That's tabafoundation.org. I'm going to be a little bit more prepared, and I'm going to put those links in the comments and on the screen, inshallah ta'ala. If y'all want to ask me, if y'all want to donate, ask me how to do. I don't care. It's $5, $10, $20. It goes towards this organization. It feeds and clothes his staff. They have books that they buy. The Sheikh Rami actually writes these books. SubhanAllah. He's a high Sheikh in the Maliki Madhab. He actually writes these books. The book that we read in Friday Night Fix, he actually wrote that. But he didn't write the book, but he translated the book. You know, he's that serious. And his initiative started out doing it just for people like me, an ex-Lil Durk, somebody who just needed some guidance and wanted to read and learn to study Islam, make his life better. All of that money goes towards those books and that curriculum. Your money will go towards saving a brother or a sister's, he does it for the women too, lives in the prison system. You will. So I know a lot of y'all got that money. Y'all got that bag. If y'all want a tax write-off, this could be it. Inbox me and I'll get you the information over so that you can do so. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.